welcome to Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and today I am going to show you some items that I purchased from mainly the Dollar Tree, but also half a dozen items or so from Michael's. So let's begin with the Michael's because that's the least amount. I purchased 4 sheets of this paper, 2 gold or yellow and 2 black, and they've got, like, there you can see, kind of indents. It's dots on it. You can actually feel them. They're raised dots. But my family coat of arms looks a lot like a caution sign. It's just basically does look like a caution sign, really. But I was going to make a family crest out of these for a small book that I'm doing for my family tree. Next is this little notepad, and it has graph paper, and as a matter of fact, that's kind of basically what my family crest looks like. So when I saw this, I thought this would be cool. So I think it was $1.50 maybe, but it's a little clipboard that's designed like my family crest, and it has a little pad of graph paper on it. Next, I purchased this 22 gauge, it's 190 feet, green floral wire, and purchased 2 of them, and I think they were about $3 a piece, I think. And I went ahead and purchased 2, and not only is this fantastically perfect for snare wire, but it also works as cordage. So I made sure that I had enough of this, so I purchased 2 of those. And lastly, from Michael's, I got a pack of these, we always called them pipe cleaners. That's how I always identified them, was pipe cleaners. But anyway, they were $1.67, and I don't know if it lists how many. 50. Okay, there's 50 in here. There's some brown and black, some tan and brown, some orange and brown, some yellow and brown, and there's some white and brown as well in there. So basically what I plan on doing with these could be many things, really. I could use them also as a tie, as a cordage, because it's little wire in there, so I could use them as cordage. But I got them mainly so that I could make fishing lures out of them, and I did a video before about making little jigs and stuff out of pipe cleaners, but the designs on these really made me think about fishing lures, so I purchased them mainly for the fishing lure concept. And that is the Michael's portion. So next, let's get into the Dollar Tree section. Alrighty, in no particular order, I found these little packets. There's 8 of them. Let's see if we turn it. Nope. There's 8 of them. It's a seasoning. It's not even going to not even going to attempt to pronounce it. But it's a seasoning, little packets of seasoning, and that'll go in my food prep, because you never know when you're going to need that. It says 1.41 ounces, and there's 8 packets in there, and you never know when you may have to eat something that's tasteless or doesn't really have a good taste, just to keep yourself going. So always have something there to help out with the flavoring. So we got that. And then I have these Raid fly ribbons. There's 4 fly ribbons per pack, and I purchased 2 packs. My little building that I built out back in my yard, my little camp, sometimes attracts mosquitoes and flies in there, so I got these mainly so that I could use them out there and put them in my shelter. But you know, I'll carry a few of these if they work well. I'm going to carry a few of them in my large bug out bag, because one thing you don't want to be pestered with when you're out in the woods, especially when you're trying to sleep, are flies and mosquitoes and gnats and stuff like that. And this says right here, traps flies, gnats, moths, and other flying insects. So not only I'm going to test them out in my shelter out in the yard, and if they work well, then I'll probably take some along with me and test them out in the field and see what they're like out there. And in the same respect, I got these coils, and says there's 4 coils. Each coil burns for 5 to 7 hours outdoors. It's a mosquito repellent coil. Just light it up and it's supposed to repel mosquitoes. So for $1, so basically they're $1 a piece because there's 4 of them in there. I paid $1 per box. So for $1 a piece, I'm willing to give it a shot, and I purchased 2 of those. Again, I'm going to test them out in my backyard shelter, which is a perfect place to test this kind of stuff out, which is one of the big reasons I built it, was so that I could train and practice in it and not have to worry about running around somewhere far away or somebody finding it and messing with it. This way I just go out in my backyard, go to my shelter, give this stuff a test. Next is a red laser pointer. Super bright LED flashlight. So it's a keyring laser pointer and possibly a flashlight as well. But anyway, I bought it for the laser pointer because I have 1 or 2 of them, but you never know when something like this will come in handy in a situation. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Mini Sharpie. There again, this is another one of those items that, you know, may not necessarily be needed to save your life, but you know, it's a practical, nice item to have, and I wanted to make sure it was, I didn't want to carry one of those bigger Sharpies around with me, so I purchased one of these mini ones just because it's smaller and easier to fit in my pack. Okay, AAA batteries. Of course, there's an 8-pack of AAA batteries. No real explanation needed on these. They're batteries. Everybody needs them. Alrighty, next I found this collapsible 3 LED light. Just basically a little plastic collapsible little light, and again it runs on AAA batteries. You never know. Small, compact, and we'll see if it's effective enough to actually use. A pack of tool bench hardware duct tape. Of course, you gotta love duct tape. Also found this lubricant. It's designed to help. It says eliminates squeaks, protects all metal. Blah 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 blah. But you never know when you might need it. So I thought I would grab some. I do not have any, and I do have a bicycle that's really old. My bicycle is from the 80s, by the way. Probably older than a lot of people that are watching this video. But 2 ounces of super penetrating lubricant, and you never know, you know, you might even be able to use this on knives and stuff to keep them lubricated. I don't really know, but it definitely could come in handy, and I do not have any, so I figured I seen it there for the first time, so I better grab at least one bottle of this just in case. Let's see, 2 packs of glow-in-the-dark shoelaces. Now, of course, this could be used for shoelaces, it could be used for cordage, it could be used for mark trails, all sorts of things. 43 inches it says. But I got it mainly because it's cordage that glows in the dark. You never know when you could use that. And like I said, this would be really good for marking trails at night, or even at camp if you've got things sitting around that you don't want to trip over. You can tie some of this around the item, or if you have like cords running from your tent or something of that nature and you don't want to run into them in the middle of the night, you can tie a little piece of this glow-in-the-dark shoelace on it, and that way you'll be able to see it at night and you don't trip over it at your camp. This next item here is I saw this in the party area. It reminded me of the old spirographs, and that's basically what it is. It's like a spirograph, and this really has no practical survival use. I just had a flashback to my childhood and wanted to play with the spirograph. So that's really all it is. And let's see here. I found that, oh, these are from Five Below. Okay, so this is from Five Below, and I hope I didn't get anything else from Five Below and miss it. But anyway, I think this is the only thing I got at Five Below. This is Mike and Ike's Root Beer Float Mike and Ike's. Love Mike and Ike's, so I had to buy a box of those. So I think that is the only thing from Five Below. So here we have the Danish style butter cookies, the 4-ounce tin. And I just like these cookies. Plus, you can't beat the tin. You know, you get the cookies and the tin for $1. This tin is fantastic for keeping items in. You can turn it into a container out in the field. You can punch a hole in it here. You can make char cloth. I've actually made char cloth from these tins. These things are fantastic to make char cloth. Tons and tons of purposes for these in a survival situation. Let's see, next, okay. I found this book. It's called Documents of Freedom, and I just felt like I wanted to buy it. It was $1 from the Dollar Tree. I haven't read it yet. It looks like it's basically discussing, you know, the Constitution and stuff like that. Looks like there's a little bit there on King George, the Declaration of Independence, Revolutionary firebrands, signing of the Declaration, God Save the King. There we go. So apparently it's got the other point of view, the Constitution, the reality of governing. So there's all sorts of stuff here. Never-ending debate. But I figured it'd be a nice little book to have, you know, look through it. And I have some ideas on some other constitutional and independent documents that I may want to do a video on. I haven't decided whether I want to get that crazy or not. Next, I have 2 of these 4x8 all-purpose weed barriers, and it's a black cloth. It's very thin, and I was thinking about using it for a weed barrier out in the backyard survival area, or using them for other purposing. I haven't quite decided yet exactly what, but I grabbed 2 of them because you never know. And lastly, I have 3 knife sharpeners that I found at the Dollar Tree. Now, it says Cooking Concepts Knife Sharpener. While I was at the Dollar Tree, I actually pulled out my Winchester knife that I keep with me at all times, and the very small knife that I got from Fishing 526 that I won from his giveaway, that I do keep with me at all times now. But I was walking through the store, I grabbed one of these and tossed one in the cart and had another one in my hand, and I pulled out my Winchester and started sharpening it because it was really dull right there in the store, just to see how it worked. And I'm telling you, just a handful of, you know, scrapes across this thing, and the knife got pretty sharp. So I grabbed, actually we ended up buying, I think, 6 or 8 of these. Everybody in the house has one now, but I have 3 of them. So these things actually do work. I mean, I'm not saying they're fantastic or they're, you know, to beat all, but you know, for the crappy knives that I have on me at all times and that I use, these really work, and they're only $1. So I ended up purchasing 3 of them, and I really suggest that if anybody has, you know, your everyday carry crappy knife on you, and you have a Dollar Tree handy, you know, go pick one of these up, because this thing works fantastic. And that is the end of my Dollar Tree haul. I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and enjoy the outdoors, even if it's just your own backyard.